Hey everyone, welcome back to another Tic Tac Taiko. As promised, this week is the first in my Taiko 101 series, and I'm starting off with a doozy of a topic. What is Taiko? This is a question that is somewhat controversial in the Taiko community, at least it used to be. Back in the day when North American Taiko conferences were relatively new, this topic would come up every now and then. There was even a panel discussion about it, and the answers ranged all the way from a carefully thought out answer to who cares? And the thing is, no one was wrong. This was also something that had come up on the Taiko community on Facebook every now and then, but those threads are buried in years and years and years of posts, and while you can find them, it's pretty difficult. And we're getting new players and new fans into Taiko all the time. So while this is a question that will never be settled, it can be answered. I'm going to take you through a set of logic exercises to help you determine what is and isn't Taiko. I'm going to go through them pretty quickly, so you're going to have to hang on tight. But I'm going to start with a baseline, something that we can all agree is pretty much Taiko. And for this, I'm going to use kodo, playing zoku on asano taiko. Let me quickly explain why I'm using this as a baseline. First, we have kodo, which is probably the most famous Taiko group there is in the world. I chose zoku because it's one of their iconic signature pieces and a personal favorite. And kodo uses asano taiko. Asano Taiko and Miyamoto Taiko are the two top tier taiko manufacturers in the world. So with this as a baseline, I think we can all agree that yes, this is Taiko. All right, let me get ready here. Okay. So we have kodo playing zoku on asano taiko. Right off the bat, we're taking the asano taiko off stage. We're going to replace them with a set of synthetic drums. Instead of wood and hide and metal tacks, you have synthetic materials and plastics and resins. Same group, same song, different drums. Is this Taiko? Now we take the synthetic drums off, we bring on a set of tire drums. Tire drums are literally tires wrapped completely in heavy duty tape like cellophane tape. They're cheap, they're easy to make, they're accessible. So you got kodo playing zoku on tire drums. Is this Taiko? And now we take the tire drums off stage and replace them with nothing, no drums at all. Kodo is playing zoku using vocalization or kuchishoga of the sounds. Same group, same song, no drums. Is this Taiko? Fun fact, kodo pretty much has done this already with a song called The Lion's Sleep, the first track on one of the early CDs Gathering. Highly recommend it. All right, let's reset. Kodo playing zoku back on asano taiko. And now kodo leaves the stage and on comes a group of Western percussionists. They don't look like they're playing taiko. They're standing upright, sometimes hunched over the drum. They don't have their feet apart, but their timing and their technique is impeccable. So, Western percussionists playing zoku on asano taiko. Is this Taiko? Now the Western percussionists leave the stage and on come a group of young Taiko students with about 3 months of experience. They're attempting the stances, the technique not so good, timing not so good, but it's still zoku and it's on asano taiko. Is this Taiko? And now the kids leave the stage and on come a group of robots. Some of them are humanoid, some of them are just swivel arms holding a bachi hitting a drum. But they've been programmed to play zoku at a level that most Taiko groups could never get to. Exact timing, perfect technique, but it's robots playing zoku on asano taiko. Is this Taiko? Fun fact, there are Taiko playing robots. Take a look. All right, one more reset. Kodo playing zoku on asano taiko. So now they bring out someone on a melodic instrument, let's say a takabue, Japanese flute, And instead of Zoku, they're going to play a cover of Bruno Mars' Uptown Funk. Kodo on Asano Taiko playing a cover song. Is this Taiko? And now, instead of playing any sort of recognizable song, they're just going to do a drum roll, just rapidly back and forth between right and left hands. Different people are playing louder and softer at random, playing faster and slower at random. It's just a wall of sound for, say, 3 minutes, but it's still Kodo, and it's on Asano Taiko. Is this Taiko? Okay, instead of resetting, we're going to switch models completely. So I want you to imagine a Taiko-trained player playing Korean rhythms on Indian drums. Is this Taiko? What about a jazz drummer playing African rhythms on Taiko drums, whatever you consider actual Taiko drums to be? Is this Taiko? And what if you had that same jazz drummer playing Taiko rhythms on Taiko drums? Would that be Taiko? Now we can take it slow again. I have a theory that there are 3 main variables that determine whether or not someone thinks a thing is or is not Taiko. Who is playing, what they are playing, and what they are playing on. Or in other words, the people, the music, and the equipment. Those 2 logic models or exercises that I took you through are looking at just those 3 variables, but from different angles to get ultimately to the same question. Is this Taiko or is it not? Now, I'm sure during both of those exercises, you found examples that you thought, oh yeah, that's definitely Taiko, or oh no, that's definitely not Taiko. And while that's good to know, what I think is really valuable is figuring out what's in the middle, what's in that gray area, and why. Why are some things hard to categorize? And what's even more interesting is what are the variables that can tip things into one area or the other? For example, what's the perceived quality of the performance? It could be the arrangement of the drums or the costumes or even the theater or the setting you're in. What have you heard about the performers, or do you know any of them? That can tip the scales. Maybe even what mood you're in. And once you start realizing some of these sub-variables and how they affect the easy yes and no categories, you start to also realize that sometimes your perceptions of what is and isn't Taiko can easily change and change over time. You might be asking, why am I going through all of this when I said earlier that all of these opinions are valid about what is and isn't Taiko? Like I said last week, I want people to have informed opinions. I'm fine disagreeing, but if you don't know why you have an opinion, we can't have a discussion, let alone a debate. It gets us nowhere. It pretty much ends the conversation. And something else that's always bothered me is when people say, I didn't like that, it wasn't Taiko. Well, you can like things that aren't Taiko, and you can dislike things that are Taiko. So to say, I didn't like it because it's not Taiko, to me, that's a cop-out. That doesn't fly with me. And finally, I would love to hear from people who had opinions on what Taiko is and isn't, and then found them either challenged or fortified, or maybe even that gray area got even bigger because you start to think about it on a different scale. Or maybe you have other variables that you can speak to that determine, or I should say, influence what you think Taiko is or isn't. Or have found yourself going, well, I thought this was Taiko, and then I realized, oh, because of X, I now think it's not Taiko. That's the kind of thing that can create some really interesting discussion and insight. And like I said last week, I definitely want to hear from people if you have ideas about Taiko 101 content, questions, assumptions, rumors you heard, conflicting information, rants maybe you want me to touch on, send them my way. You can send them at tictactaiko@gmail.com, reply below, reach to me on Facebook, whatever is convenient for you. I want to hear from you. And that's it for this week and the first Taiko 101 video. I really hope you enjoy. Let me know with a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and until next time, keep on practicing and be well.